Good evening, everybody. This is Gulf Harbour Radio, ZMH 286, Patricia and David. And we've had a really nice day here today. None of the wind that you guys out there have been getting. It's only about 3 to 5 knots from the northeast here at the moment, and 20 degrees. So pretty decent weather, but don't hold your breath because the front is coming. The bar is 1019.2 and dropping. About 70% cloud cover here. Okay, well, just a bit of news, especially for those boats that are going to be arriving in the Bay of Islands Saturday. The Coastal Classic starts tomorrow. This is a race from Auckland to the Bay of Islands. Only 70 boats this year. There was well over 100 last year, but only 70 this year. It's not a great forecast for many boats. Headwinds, all those lovely winds that are in a great direction for the speeds that you people are going at the moment, will not make it very pleasant for boats trying to beat their way to the Bay of Islands from Auckland. But anyway, the Bay of Islands will be quite busy for those folks arriving in the weekend. David will talk more about the weather coming up tomorrow and the next day shortly. Anyway, meanwhile, I will just tell you first of all, before I call in the boats, those that have come in on email. Let me try and put them in order. I'll go from the top because Camelot have just left yesterday. They are at 1852 south, 17642 east, on a course of 185 true at 8.1. She's a pretty heavy boat, so that's good speed, but it is 20 to 25 knots, gusting 27 from the east-southeast. Seas moderate to rough, 2.5 metre east-southeast swell, 8 seconds. But all is well on board. They're busy finding things below that were not properly stowed. Let's have a look at what else have we got. 23 south, we've got Maitaki, a Moody 54. We always take notice of the Moodies. 3.33 south, 17540 east, 19 knots of east-northeast. Their speed is 8.5 going south, moderate seas, which is better than yesterday. So Jody, Clive and the crew are doing well. Crew happy with the seas down a little bit. Next I think is about 25. We've got Elka, single-handed Julius. He's at 25.5 and 175.68 east. 13 to 18 knots from the northeast to east-northeast, and it's 1.5 going up to 3 meters every now and again, same direction, swell. A bit of negative current he's reporting. The AIS has him now at 7.12 on a course of 194. The position I gave you was actually at 2 p.m. because his Starlink is not operating all that well. Sometimes it doesn't with the swell. I usually look at the swell and know that if it's above 2 meters, it does tend to get a bit difficult for the Starlink to latch on to the current from the antenna to the satellite. Okay, who's next? We have Dash and Gracias. Well, I'll start with Gracias. This was at 4 p.m. 27 degrees, 11 south, 17410 east. On a course south, 180 true, 7.5 knots with 15 to 20 east-northeast. 60% swell, 60% cloud cover, should I say. The swell, I was just looking at that, 2 meters easterly. It's still bumpy, and I bet Lorna is very happy she's sitting on terra firma. Dash is certainly living up to its name. 2713 south, 17433 east. 180 again, true, 8 knots, 16 knots from the northeast, 2 metre east-northeast. The swell is sort of settled down into a regular pattern now, which is good. They've had another 200-mile day, which is stupendous. 15% cloud cover and only 523 miles to go to Marsden. They are a 17-metre boat, by the way. And I'm sure Mike was a government statistician, because he commented on the fishing success. He said it's 100% successful, no lures out and no fish caught. How's that for a good use of statistics? Okay, right, let's have a look and talk to those that we can hear. And another Moody for us. We're following on carefully. Master plan, Gulf Harbour.
Gulf Harbour, this is master plan. Over.
Sorry, Mike, I just had my book stolen by David, who was looking at something. So go ahead, I've got it back again.
Gulf Harbour, this is master plan. Our position 25 degrees 12 south, 173 degrees 47 east. Our course over ground 1852. Our speed 7 knots. The wind at the moment is 18 knots from the east. The swell is a bit mixed, but 1.5 meters east-southeast. We have a light overcast as well.
Okay, we have master plan doing a pretty good speed for just under 42 feet. 2512 south, 17347 east, 185 true, 7 knots with the 18 knots of easterly. Mixed swell, but sort of predominantly 1.5 meters east-southeast, and light overcast. So still pretty decent conditions, Dean, over.
Gulf Harbour master plan. I couldn't copy your question, but all is well on board. Can you repeat the question, please?
Yep, no question. It was just another pretty reasonable day and good conditions for master plan, over.
Yes, a reasonable day and good sailing conditions. I suspect we won't go on for long if there's consequence, but making the most of it while we can.
Yeah, indeed, dear. David will be talking about the front shortly. Okay, clear with you, and obsession, Gulf Harbour.
Gulf Harbour Radio, this is Obsession. Good to hear your position tonight. Can you hear me, over?
Yeah, very good copy on you tonight, Lisa. Go ahead.
Okay, our position is 24 degrees, 18 minutes south, 173 degrees and 50 minutes east. We're doing a speed of 5 to 6 knots on a course of 190 magnetic. We've got 100% cloud cover with the odd squall, a mixed swell of 2 meters east northeast and a 1 meter easterly swell, and 15 knots in the east northeast. And barometer is reading 1018. Over.
Oh, you're testing my speed writing skills here. Just make sure I've got everything right. Obsession with Lisa and Lester, 2418 south, 17350 east, 190 magnetic, between 5 and 6. It seems to be the same speed each night. 100% cloud cover with an odd squall or two. Mixed swell. We have an east-northeast of 2 meters and a 1 meter easterly. I think it was east-northeast. It might have been east. Yeah, I think it would have been 1 meter east. 15 knots of east-northeast, 1018. Well, I guess the conditions are testing your good, strong stomachs, but good progress. Over.
Sorry, this is really struggling to hear your question, and just a correction, it's 17350 east. 17350 east.
Yep, Roger wrote that down. I'm not sure what I said, but I've got that. And I presume all is well on board. Over.
All is well on board, and we might need to stream David's words to read the weather tomorrow morning. Over.
Yes, he's going to cover the weather tomorrow and Saturday, so give you all a heads up on what's happening. But you've all had it really good until now, so keep that in mind. All right, let's go across to Falado, Gulf Harbour. Oh, I just missed. I think that's you, Cameron. Go ahead, over.
Yeah, this is Harbour. We are at 21 degrees, 36 minutes south, 16 degrees, 50 minutes east. We have 1 knots of wind, coming directly from the east. Course over now is 7 miles, and we're motorsailing now, doing 5.8 knots. Bright sunshine, probably about 10% cloud cover. Seas are slight, 1 metre swell from the east. Up until now, we've had really good winds, and they've just died away in the last couple of hours. Over.
Roger that. Could you just clarify your position? I've got 2136 south and 16 something. I didn't catch the longitude, over.
169 minutes, 50 minutes.
Okay, thank you. 16950 east and 13 knots of easterly there on a course of 275 true, 5.8 knots motor sailing. Beautiful day though. 10% cloud cover, 1 metre easterly, so that will help give a little nudge.
Where are they going?
Going to Bundaberg, David was just asking. So, well, it doesn't hurt to have a bit of a light day, does it? I presume all is well on board, over. Oh, okay. I didn't realise you were stopping in Noumea. Well, I think I might have got that, but okay. So Noumea first. That's right. I recall that now, and then Bundy. Okay. Yeah, I think it's as far as we know, it's quite peaceful in Noumea, and in fact, a couple of the boats have been out in the lagoon a little bit as well. So, okay, we'll clear with you. Getting pretty close, so we'll talk to you again tomorrow night. Clear with Falado and try and find Iron Maiden. Margaret, this is Gulf Harbour. Well, she struggles to hear us. I think there's obviously something that they're running, and I'm sure it could be lights. Lights are the worst offenders of, and it's these new fancy low draw lights that we certainly have trouble with them. I have to turn them off to hear anything on some frequencies. So I'll try Iron Maiden, or I might get somebody else to try Iron Maiden shortly. Let's go to Ruffian, Gulf Harbour. Yes, Roger. There's a lot of static noise, but I can copy you, Laura, so go ahead, over.
Is much improved from yesterday, about 6 feet, and we have light rain.
Roger, good copy from you. It's interesting, it's often different, isn't it, from one way or the other. Anyway, I have good copy on you, Shona. 2258 south, 17821 west, on a course of 220 true, 6 knots. The wind is 20 knots from the east-northeast. It's 070. Improved seas, and that's nice. 6 feet, I presume, from the east-northeast direction. and I went to put something down, and I don't know what it was. Oh, that's right, just a light wave action. So all sounds good on Ruffian, and I presume all is well on board. There's a lot of traffic around, over.
Yes, all is well on board, and we have several boats around, quite a few have stopped in the reef that we are carrying on, but it's not, everybody's going in the same direction, so it's just how people around.
Yep, roger that. Yes, it's. I agree with the not stopping. We rarely stop on the way south, and we're always sort of fairly keen to keep going. You never know quite what's going to happen with the weather, but if it's sensible to stop, of course, it's a good place to be. All right, we will clear with you and talk to you again tomorrow, and I'll go to the last one on my list is Zumax, dealing with some rather nasty currents over there. Zumax, Gulf Harbour. Nothing heard from Zumax. How about Iron Maiden? No, nothing heard. Barry, I wonder if you're on frequency, because I could do with a call from you, because I think Iron Maiden has a lot of struggle with my signal. So Barry, are you on frequency at the moment? Over. No, nothing heard. What we'll do, and maybe it will improve, is go to David, who's got quite a bit of stuff. We'll start with the weather for passage making folk tomorrow and the next day, and then come back to me. I'll have another try for the two boats we're missing. I particularly want Iron Maiden because they're not on AIS. So hopefully somebody will put out a call, and then we'll talk about clouds. So over to David.
All right, good evening, and I'm sorry that we don't seem to be getting out. I hope everyone can hear me. I'm trying to talk as loud as I can. Anyway, around lunchtime on Friday, tomorrow, around lunchtime, the sea is going to be, well, quite a ruckus around 30 south and the date line, right on the rum line, actually, between Fiji and New Zealand. About 2 to 2.5 meters will be coming in from the southwest, and they're colliding with 2-meter seas coming in from the east. And it's going to be quite bouncy at that point in that particular area, and it may even be pounding for some boats that don't like seas like that. At 30 south and 175 east, 30 south and 175 east, you could expect light showers out of a relatively clear sky. Just a few clouds here and there, but there are light showers projected for that area. Now, those of you coming from Vanuatu or New Caledonia and are near Norfolk Island, you could expect north-northeast winds 15 to 20 with rain to light showers. Clouds are going to be broken. Their Met Service has calculated they'll be 800 up to 1,400 feet. So that's in the Norfolk Island area. And those people coming from Vanuatu or New Cal come pretty close to Norfolk. We have, that's for sure. Now, those that are coming from Nuku'alofa or that direction and are at 30 south and 175 east, you could expect light showers and northeast winds 15 and up to 25 knots. And if you're at 25 south and about 177 east, northeast winds about 15 to 20. So this is Friday. This is around lunchtime on Friday. So we'll move to Saturday the 26th, at about lunchtime. This all is. So the big Saturday, the 26th. So the Tasman Depression is just west of Cook Strait, and it's well wound up with quite compressed isobars. This is thanks to the 1031 millibar high that's located at 38 south and 162 west. Thus, we've got a squash zone, a simple squash zone in between. Now, a trough precedes the cold front, and, well, we call that a prefrontal trough. Pretty novel description, I would say. However, this is the day the North Island gets hammered by the cold front and troughing activity that we have been predicting over a week now. And it's actually nice, at least as a meteorologist, it's nice to have four models not only in agreement with the time and the day, but actually agreeing on all of this for just about 7 days in advance. This is quite rare, but welcome that this actually does happen. So let's look at the en route yachts for Saturday. First off, those from Vanuatu and or Newcal and are going to be near Norfolk on Saturday. Winds early in the morning, northwest 20 to 30 knots, and moderate to heavy rain. By the afternoon, as the band actually crosses Norfolk and carries on, winds shift, so you could expect southwest winds 15 to 25 knots with cloud clearing. And by Sunday, if you happen to be near Norfolk, you could expect winds southwest 10 to 15 and gusts 20 or so. And lo and behold, we may see sunshine there. That's Sunday. Okay, changing gears now. Yachts that are en route from Fiji to New Zealand and happen to be at 30 south and 175 east. Now, I had to pick a latitude and a longitude for all of this, folks. I know you're not going to be exactly at that point, but I think you'll get the idea if you're near there. So we're talking about 30 south and 175 east, that general area. And again, this is at lunchtime. So Saturday, we could expect cloud and showers and northerly winds 20 to 30 knots, 20 to 30 knots, up to 3 meter seas from the north. And you'll be pretty much at the axis of the frontal band at that point. Conditions that I just described are more or less the same if you're a little bit further south than 30 and 175. However, closer to 9 pin, in other words, the closer you get to the entrance to the bay, you could expect gale force winds. Let's say it again, gale force winds from the northwest direction, or maybe northeast, depending whether or not you're on track from Vanuatu or you're on track from Tonga. Either way, it's going to be mighty rough with gale winds up to 3 meter seas, and you'll have currents to deal with as well. Now, I haven't forgotten the Tonga yachts Saturday at 30 south and 177 east. That's 30 and 177. You could expect north to northeast winds 20 to 25 knots. If you're a little bit closer to New Zealand, gusts will easily be 30 up to gale force. Then closer yet to 9 pin, definitely gale force winds. So, as this depression and frontal band has been forecast for really quite a long time, We hope that you can see the value of calculating an ETA and looking at your weather before departure. In this case, if you're not a speedy yacht like our Chameleon, you may understand why, well, we would have chose to wait for another window. But in any case, that is so important when you're making a passage like this. ETA and weather. Take a strong look at it, then make your decisions. So, okay, that's pretty much it from me. Back to the chief. And afterwards, I plan to give a short little weather lesson on clouds. If anybody can hear me, I don't know. But anyway, here's the chief.
Oh, that doesn't sound very pleasant. It looks like a day inside for us. Okay, I'm going to just ask Barry up there in Samoa on Mackay to see if he can find Iron Maiden. Yours, Barry, go ahead.
Yeah, Roger, Trish, thank you very much, and I'm copying you better now. Iron Maiden, do you copy Mackay, Iron Maiden, do you copy, over? One more call, Iron Maiden, this is sailing up from Mackay, calling, Iron Maiden, do you copy?
Not good.
Okay, nothing heard, Trish, back to you.
Yeah, and you're coming through really well here, Barry, so thank you for that. Yeah, we'll have to just work out where she might be, and hopefully she will be on tomorrow. What we generally do, and this is for interest in other people, is when we don't hear one night, and I'm hoping that she will make contact with Maritime, I will check with them if she misses a call for some reason, and then we'll have to take things further from there. All right, let's see if I can find Zumax Gulf Harbour. Good copy on you, Anna. Go ahead.
Oh, good. I have a message copy of you now. Before I really had a very, very nice copy. So, our station is 04 degrees 25 north, 128 degrees 52 west. We are on a course of 070 degrees true at a speed of about 6.5 knots. We have about 15 knots from the southeast, southeast, and the sea is very confused at the moment because we are again in a strong stream of current. Over.
Yeah, thanks for the WhatsApp. Yeah, what a pain in the neck dealing with that current. 04 degrees 25 north, 128 degrees 52 west, on a course of 070 true with 6.5 knots, dealing with a very strong negative current. 15 knots from the south-southeast with those confused seas. But otherwise, all is going, and you're dealing with it. Over.
Everything is fine today. We had a very good day, and we managed
It's against them?
some good distance. And just a couple of hours ago, we had this new flow of strong current, which is blowing up and pushing us to the north. But everything is okay. We had a good day. Over.
Yep, that's good. And David is just looking at your email. It came in, your WhatsApp, it came in a bit late to go through it. So, yep, the old current, it's interesting, pushing you north at the moment. So,
Is that what it's doing?
yes, that's what she said it's doing. So, he's just having a look here. But, yep, you've got a few days ahead of you to deal with it, but otherwise all is going well. Thanks, Anna, and seeing as you can copy now, I think I'll pass it. Well, I'll just clear with you. Is there anybody else wanting to check in before David starts talking about clouds?
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, real quick, Trish, before you get started, I just wanted to mention that Alula has left Fiji today, and they're heading towards Opua. They probably are, in fact, I just spoke to Jimmy a few minutes ago, and they are just passing through the reef near the Malolo Islands, just passing through the reef and heading on to Opua. Over.
Ah, roger that. Actually, I did see that on the AIS, I think, before. No, it was a gap I was looking at. So I'll give them a shout out tomorrow once they settle down and get away from land. Thank you for that. Boy, you are booming in now. Okay, clouds. David. Hang on, just give me a chance to get this.
Okay. Well, hopefully I'm getting out and folks could understand what I'm saying. So, as Trish said, today we're going to be talking about clouds. Now, you see in the tropics, you see them all over, and what they mean for weather, you now have, and what to expect for the future is always a question in everybody's mind. For those of us under the influence of a very large anticyclone to our south, we'll generally see very nice puffy cumulus clouds. They're going to be fairly white in color, and they will be no taller than they are wide. The bottoms are going to appear to have the same altitude. In other words, they're all at the same height, and the tops will also be at the same level. And this is because of the inversion layer that's common to an anticyclone. A silly little analogy to this is simply a pot top on a pot on a stove. Nothing can get above the pot top, and that's the same with these clouds in the anticyclone. However, if the tops climb high, right even through that inversion layer, if you will, and the cloud becomes taller than it is wide, then that is a message that the atmosphere is unstable, and we should be expecting showers and possible squalls in the future. So take note of that. So the cloud is taller than it is wide, portends a possible problem. So if we're also experiencing a trade wind surge, the cloud is certainly going to break through the inversion layer, and rain and windy conditions are probably going to prevail at that point. The cloud bottoms are going to change color from very white to dark, almost black at times. Now, if the top of the cloud leans, that means there is a strong wind in the middle layers of the atmosphere, and that's an indication of a weather change. So when the small cloud cumulus, say small to medium cumulus cloud, is starting up, it's made from updrafts, there's always going to be a downdraft. So when we see these small to medium cumulus clouds floating around up there, they get there by an updraft, and all the time it's going to be a downdraft. Now, if the cloud happens to be leaning, that's going to indicate that the downdraft is not going to will not tend to snuff out the parent cloud, but it's going to encourage a new cloud to form as the downdraft collides with any trade wind flow, and as a result we will have updraft and a new cloud. So what I'm trying to say is, if you have a leaning cloud, you are going to see a fine day suddenly turning into a cloudy day. So that's how it happens. The cloud leans, the downdraft collides with wind near the surface, and that causes the air to go up, and we get cloud because of that. So there you go. you wonder how come a fine day turns into a cloudy day. That's typically what the story is. So, where do these nice, fluffy cumulus come from out in the open ocean? The basic mechanism is pretty simple. The sun heats the surface of the water, and that in turn radiates water vapor. Now, air mixed with water vapor is less dense than air without, so it rises. Now, this little concept, a lot of people have trouble with that. They think that air that has water vapor in it has got to be heavier, but it's not. It's the opposite. It's less dense, and so therefore that air does rise. And when it reaches the dew point, cloud is going to form, and if the air rises far enough, the rain will really continue in style. Now, this falling rain can sometimes what we call scavenge the cloud droplets that are in the cloud, and that is going to cause the cloud to disappear. We call it raining out. So that is sometimes what happens when you see a nice cloud there, it reaches the dew point, and you see rain within the cloud, and then before you know it, the cloud's gone. Where did it go? So that's the reason. The actual downflow rain just basically snuffs out the cloud. So that's the story there. So, changing the subject then to altocumulus and altostratus, mid-level cumulus and mid-level stratus. So, if you're in the subtropics, looking at those clouds normally doesn't mean anything at all. But if you're in the tropics, they could be a couple of things. They could be the residue of rained out CBs, cumulonimbus clouds, or it could indicate bad weather is approaching, especially if this is cyclone season. So if altostratus or even plain old stratus turns dark and appears to be kind of a gray, thick looking continuous cloud, rain may certainly develop when you see this sort of thing. This cloud is found typically on the eastern side of an upper level trough, and it is not picked up by Met services quite often. So suddenly it will develop these conditions, and nobody knows why, but that is why. That's the reason for it. Cirrus cloud can be just simply residue from cumulonimbus clouds, or it could indicate a jet stream. Lumpy cirrus is found on the poleward side of the jet stream, and smooth cirrus is on the equatorward side. If the jet stream cirrus is moving northwest to southeast, so you look up, you see the cirrus moving northwest to southeast, it indicates that you're under the east side of an upper level trough, and that means there is a possibility of a depression that is forming. So beware when you see this sort of thing, particularly if it's cyclone season and that cirrus is heading in your direction. Take notice, certainly take notice of that. Now, if the cloud above you is moving counter to the trade winds, it's usually the result of an upper level trough, or the cloud is under a jet max. Now, a jet max can cause cloudy and rainy conditions absolutely not forecast on your weather maps. All of a sudden, you've got rain. Why is it? And you look up, you're not going to see a jet max, but you'll see cloud. You'll see cloud moving quite rapidly, and that can certainly be the cause of rain. Now, extensive cloud cover with seemingly no explanation from your weather maps can also be the result of a shear line developing between two upper level ridges. So upper level meaning roughly 500 millibar. It could also be the result of cyclonically flowing wind at 700 or 850 millibar. That's about 10,000 feet to down to 5,000 feet. These sort of conditions are seldom forecast as well. So again, extensive cloud cover. You need to have access to your upper level maps, and you can get them, by looking at Windy. They have a little device there that allows you to put the put the lines, if you will, of the various pressure levels on the chart. And so in this case, we're looking at 700 and 850 millibar. So this is different. When you're on watch at night, have you ever wondered why unexpected nasty squalls interfere with your reading the book? Now, I know you're on watch, but let's face it, a lot of people read their book or look at their Kindle or whatever. But all this happens at around dark 30. It's at night, it's dark, and all of a sudden you've got a nasty squall, and you didn't expect it. So, what has caused this? It's called radiative cooling. And what happens is that the top of those big, nice, fluffy cumulus clouds get very, very cold. And they get very cold because of the absence of the sun. It's nighttime, so there's no sun. The tops are not maintaining their warmth. So they get cold, but the surface of the water is quite warm. So when we have cold on top and warm on the bottom, the air is going to rise from the surface very, very quickly. And that is going to create quite a nasty squall at times. So the lesson in all of this is if there are lots of big cumulus around before dark, you may want to think about putting in a reef. One more thing to be aware of: if you have a quasi-stationary trough over you in the tropics, and it's quite common to have that, leftovers of a cold front that's up over Fiji or Vanuatu or wherever, but leftover cloud, drizzle, and that sort of thing. And everything is fairly mellow. You've got not a whole lot of wind, maybe just a drizzle, but not a lot of rain. But if a cold front passes by to the south of you, it can reactivate this trough. This mellow trough that's not doing much of anything is suddenly going to go from mellow to not so nice. So the lesson to that is pay attention to your weather charts and look what's to your south. You may not care about it by thinking that doesn't mean anything to me because it's to my south, but it could affect the weather where you are. Now, if you see a cloud band or a CB, cumulonimbus cloud, that seems to be moving with the trades, seems to be moving with the trade winds. I'm saying that again. It's not. The cloud is actually moving with the mean wind that's between 5,000 to 10,000 feet, or 850 to 700 millibar. And this always goes to the left of the trade winds. So, what I'm trying to say is, if you're, say, at anchor, and the clouds are moving, but they seem to be coming at you as you are at anchor, those clouds will in fact move to your right as you're looking at them. So the clouds to worry about are the ones to your left, not the ones that are straight ahead. And should the cloud actually move over you, a wind shift is going to be guaranteed because the gust from the cloud is going to be moving in the cloud's direction. And since that direction is not at you, you can see how things will change. And that's pretty much the end of this little lesson. I hope that you understand what I said.
It's a bit complicated.
Yeah, Trish said it's complicated. So, well, that's the way it goes. You can always drop me an email if you have a question. Yeah, I suppose it is complicated on how it occurs and all that sort of thing, but it does affect us. So the more you understand about the simple clouds, you'll just know more about the cruising life, I suppose. So with that, I'm done, and here's the chief.
Yeah, too much for my mind. I have to really think about it again. Okay, I'm just going to have one more call for Iron Maiden because propagation should be better now. Iron Maiden, Gulf Harbour Radio. Nothing heard. Is there anybody wanting to do a radio check or anything at this stage? Please come now. Nothing heard. I will just share something with you because I really did get a chuckle. I had made a comment that Dash, was living up to its name, and I got the response back on streaming, and because some of you have got your streaming running pretty well at sea with your Starling, as to why the boat is called Dash, because it's certainly not a fast boat. It's a Taswell 56, and Mike reckons it's more like a ton of bricks than a fast boat. But anyway, the reason their name is there is related to their time on Earth, well, our time on Earth. When you look at a tombstone, you see the name and two dates separated by a dash. So you make the most of your dash, and they indeed are. I thought that was rather cute. All right, cheers everybody. We'll be back again tomorrow night with closer information on the front, and we hope that you make the most of the good conditions until it comes. Have a good night. This is Gulf Harbour Radio.